Hello, friends. It's Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Danielle, and I've seen almost nothing.
I'm Nella, and I'm in the fourth stage of grief, but I'm sort of seesawing between that and bargaining. So we'll see what happens after this episode.
Yeah, these last 3 episodes that we just watched were pretty tough on Nella. Well, a little housekeeping up top before we hop right into that. We are having some summer hours, so we're going to be alternating weeks. You just heard our movie night, which Danielle and I will be doing on alternating Tuesdays. I almost forgot what day it was. That's fine. On alternating Tuesdays, so now we're back with Fringe, and next week we'll be watching another movie. But right now, we're here to talk about Fringe Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3. So we experienced in these 3 episodes Play-Doh-faced soldiers, which can doppelgang with human beings, an underground boy, and people who turn to glass and then explode. But why don't we just jump right into the Charlie? Because I feel like we all have a lot of feelings about Charlie, and we should express them here at the top.
I really thought he was going to make it to season 3. I really believed it.
That was what you said in the pilot, right?
I know. I thought I thought season 3, they really killed Charlie in the first episode of season 2.
They robbed you.
Did you?
And I'm so sorry.
Did you suspect that it was going to happen at all when they entered the room? And like the first time they shot the shapeshifter full on in the back.
The first time
she just walked away,
when Meghan
right?
Markle shoots the shapeshifter in the back twice, and it superhero jumps out the window and superhero lands. I was like, oh no, this thing is way out of our pay grade.
Yep.
Way out of everyone's pay grade.
So then when they hear the shots in the basement and Charlie is standing over the shapeshifter, was there any part of you that was like, no way?
No, there was. I was very worried. I thought for a brief moment, oh no, Charlie's dead. But then Charlie's body wasn't on the ground, and I had hope. I had hope, Danielle.
And then that hope was cruelly torn away from you.
Truly, cruelly was torn away. Like the episode ends with the fake Charlie, the murder Charlie, pulling the naked body of our Charlie, our beautiful son, out from behind the wall and throws it in the furnace in the basement.
Him and his beautiful wife and their loving marriage, who now she's just living with a shapeshifter, I guess.
No, I'm not okay. There's a lot I'm not okay with. Oh boy, I hit that denial pretty hard, which instantly morphed into anger. I was very angry. There was a lot of wandering around the house cursing.
Yeah, we took about a 20-minute break between episode 1 and episode 2. I did think it was hard too, because we had just had one of the most touching Charlie moments where it's like, you have unlocked Charlie's tragic backstory.
Yes.
And then he was taken from us.
I know.
Unlocked just in time.
Just in time to lose him forever.
Well, now, and maybe this was your next stage of grief, but there are versions of Charlie out there that we will continue to see.
She reminded me of Scarly. And then so instantly I just started bargaining with them. Well, maybe Scarly isn't a bad guy like I presumed in like the last time we recorded. And, maybe Scarly turns over a new leaf and joins the team and we still have Charlie.
Maybe not everyone with a scar is evil,
Maybe.
I'm not going to trust this show as far as I can throw it for that to be real, but maybe.
I would not. No, I would not trust this show.
What's funny about none of it's funny, but with saying that, like, maybe he dies in season 3, my brain sort of went, the actor is with us for a while.
Yeah. Which, he is.
In the next 2 episodes, that actor is living his best life because he gets to play the sneaky evil version of his character.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell he's having a lot of fun with it. Like, especially when he's going to the secret place with the secret typewriter that crosses dimensions. and like we're looking for his orders, and he's just got this swagger that's ridiculous, and I'm just like, you practiced that in a mirror so many times, and you were like, nailed it. Yeah, I am the evil secret super soldier shapeshifter. Nailed it. Him like staring evilly at Peter and Olivia from the car. I also love the scene that he and Olivia get to have together in the car. Yes. Yeah.
Nella was recording one note, and then that happened, and then Nella proceeded to try and curse out the evil Charlie as much as she could.
Because I was dictating my notes while we were watching it.
Okay.
So this is what I was, during the scene, I'm saying, I'm starting to think that the entire gist of season 2 is to continually put Olivia in increasingly dangerous situations and destroying every last bit of trust she has of her own perception of reality and of the people around her. And I'm not sure I'm here for it. Interrupted by, "You take my son's face off your face!" That's really my dictation.
I mean, those first 3 episodes, they gaslight Olivia so many times.
They really do.
I'm so mad at how well he pulls it off, because he really seems like himself. And then, of course, Olivia is just distracted by everything that's happening to her, so she can't really tell that this isn't her best friend.
I mean, we haven't even gotten to Sam Weiss yet. Like,
don't let me get to Sam Weiss.
But before we get to Sam Weiss, I need to share with everyone, I wrote a eulogy for Charlie, because attention must be paid.
We need to have a moment of silence and
Joy,
respect. And
Joy heard some of this, but then last night I couldn't sleep, so at 3 a.m. I added some more to it. To Charlie Francis, the best Boston transplant from New York City that ever lived. Yeah, he was a cop, but we loved him anyway because he was a fictional character. He is survived by both his wife and his federal twin, Olivia. Charlie. Oh, Charlie. You survived an ovid depositor only to be dumped in an unmarked furnace by a shape-shifting super soldier who I hope will soon find out having around. Charlie, they didn't even let you see the mid-season finale of season 2, but your tats were wicked legit. Charlie, you couldn't do anything illegal, but you certainly knew when it turned to Peter to do the illegal stuff for you. Thank you for always playing yes and no matter what Olivia told you. To Charlie Francis, the first of what I'm sure will be many beloved sacrificial lambs. I don't know if there are twins in heaven, but if there are, you will definitely check for them. Amen.
Pour one out for Charlie. For OG Charlie.
So then season 2 tries to make me feel better with this really adorable Peter and Liv scene. And it just didn't work for me because I knew that fake Charlie was out there sitting there staring at them with murder in his eyes because he's not Charlie. He's a fake Charlie.
So this happened in real time, just like I was talking about that other scene. Nella is recording this, like, here's season 2, trying to make me feel better about the fact that my son is dead. Instantly, they're outside the hospital. It was super cute. You know, Peter and Olivia, like, maybe you should let people help you. Well, you can pick up my suitcase. I mean, I also think all of them are adorable, but that scene in particular is very, very cute. And then, in the middle of recording this, you're just trying to make me feel better, even though I know. And then instantly, there he is on the screen. And she just goes right into that next quote. And I'm just like,
again,
I
dictate my notes. And it's very telling in my notes for this recording. So now that they've killed my son, I guess we could talk about fringe science of these last 3 episodes or something. I don't know. I'm trying to not fixate on my son right now. It's very hard.
It's okay. Well, we can actually talk about these soldiers. I mean,
episode 3?
Well, no, sorry, not those soldiers. Okay. Justice for those soldiers, really. My
so many soldiers.
No, these shape-shifting soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Where you have are they even people? We don't know. We don't know what they're made of. They just have this device that makes them change their face into the other facial structure of human beings around us. We don't even know if they're human. Not really.
How gross that they have to crack the face they already have on first and then stick the little 3-prong into the roof of their mouth.
Right.
Into their soft palate. And I just... Ugh. I hate it. I hated all of it.
I would take the gnarliest, hottest pizza cheese burns over having to do that.
I was just going to say, as someone who has burned her soft palate, sticking spikes into it is like a no.
And this is something, presumably, they have to do pretty frequently, because we can see that even within the, not even a week, I think, that goes by in the first 3 episodes of this season, Charlie's already kind of falling apart and feeling the pain of staying in that body for too long.
He is not happy pretty fast. Like in the next episode, in episode 2, you like hear him coughing in the background and you kind of see him limping along. Yes, Nella was very pleased about that. I mean, as am I. Look, I'm glad that it doesn't, I'm glad that this doesn't stick. I'm glad he's suffering because I love Charlie too. Dang it. I just knew it was coming.
Yes.
I knew, and I had to sit here and be like, I know you want season 3, but you are going to be so disappointed. And I couldn't spoil it.
Nope.
Because that goes against the rules.
But you didn't. So kudos to you, Joy.
Honestly, it's a lot. I know we're joking about it, but it was very hard. It was really very hard not to be like, please don't get your hopes up for season 3. Please don't put all your eggies in this basket. And no, but there's something about these shape-shifting soldiers that is just like they're getting these messages from the alternate reality through a typewriter, which I thought was super cool. But like there's a typewriter on the other side and a typewriter on this side, and like that's how they communicate.
And a mirror through which you can see the other side.
But you can't see anyone typing, you just see the typewriter move. And I was just like, what?
It's a very cool conceit. It's very like, it almost feels a little like you stepped into a magical world. Like it's not, it's I really enjoy it.
Me too.
In this back room where the walls aren't quite finished, like this poor store owner who obviously has like either a leg injury or, maybe something from birth, who is just like watching this typewriter and being like, I'm not going to be around forever. One of these days.
6 years to hear that code word again.
That is dedication. Either that or he's got something on him. I don't know.
I know.
I mean, they definitely have something on him.
Just starts with like a literal bang with like the no one's in the car, and then the soldier runs away, and then Olivia is suddenly in the car and through the windshield, and then dead in the hospital, dead. And then not dead.
Walter's little monologue where when he can't accept that Olivia's dead until he inspects the body on his own.
I know. I love how scientist it is about, like, I have all these feelings that I can't process and I need more data to process them.
Data.
Like,
and then he immediately turns snarky. He's undoubtedly indulging in primitive diagnostics.
Yes.
Walter.
I mean,
there you go. Those are those 5 stages.
Yeah, it happens so quickly. Happens so quickly for Walter. And then we do have Walter like sort of over her body and just hyperly emotional about it. And we see how much Olivia has touched everyone, and Rachel comes into town, and like, it's so heartbreaking. And then she wakes up saying something in Greek to Peter that she's a phrase she's never heard before, which ends up being the phrase that Peter's mother said to him before he went to sleep every night of like, be a better man than your father.
Which,
in Greek.
Can we discuss the implications of that being the sentence you choose to say to your child every night before they go to sleep?
Right? Yikes.
Yikes is right.
I also really love how the show reinforces that, like, Peter was brought up in a single mother home. His mother was really caring, but his mother also understood how genuinely terrible his father was. And tried to bring him up the best she could. And Peter has his issues, but Peter is astoundingly well adjusted for some of the things that happened to him.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can attribute so much of that to his mother. Personally.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, yeah, because the show makes it clear that she is the one who is there,
Yeah. She is the one who was there. She was the one who was taking care of him. He's definitely ended up being a mama's boy, if only just because she was the one that was there. We just got lucky that she also happened to not be a horrible person. We keep getting these tidbits of the mom, And I really like how they kind of sprinkle them throughout the series. I mean, it is rough to be told that every night by your mother, but at the same time, your father literally isn't here and is in St. Clair's, and like...
Right, and...
Like, Dad was already gone at that point, and it was just us.
And this is even more than gone. You know, speaking in terms of being a better man than your father... Being a better man than a person who regularly engages in human experimentation, sometimes on children, most of the time on people who do not know what is actually being done to them, and so cannot actually consent to those procedures.
And then is literally in St. Clair's because a woman died in his lab from a fire. Like, I know Peter also has his issues sometimes with adjusting to the person that Walter is now. Mm-hmm. But I think he's also doing really well with that, too, where he's just able to, like, sort of slot in a couple of things where it's like, you are a changed person from being in this place for 17 years. And honestly, I don't really know who you are because the last time I saw you, I was 10.
Yeah. Walter is straight forgotten so much of what happened at that time that he really is, for all intents and purposes, a different person. Kind of. Yes and no.
The custard thing started triggering these little like phantom memories of my brain of like the deal with Peter, and I'm just like, oh no, it's not that he's misremembering. I think I know what's going on, but it's not just a bad memory thing. It's he really swear jar around our Walter.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, and I won't say he's a completely different person. He definitely still crosses the line way too many times. I mean, speaking of, right after that cute Peter picks up Olivia from the hospital scene, when she shows up in the lab and Astrid and Walter are reenacting her car crash, my notes literally just say, too soon. Too soon, Astrid and Walter.
I'm going to say this because that scene actually reminded me of a trend I had seen in TV shows for about a decade, where like in science fiction or paranormal shows or even supernatural shows, they did this again and again and again, where usually it was a woman, because those tended to be the shows I watched, but like a woman lived through a traumatic paranormal thing, and then the people around her decided to try and figure it out to either help her through it or to literally just figure out what happened. And this had actually happened on Buffy, season 3 of Buffy, so probably 97, so maybe like a decade before, a little over a decade before.
After
but like
which
this is a
time
common
that she
trend.
died are we discussing?
So this is well, spoilers for Buffy, first of all, but this is post Angel stabbing.
Okay.
She literally stabs her boyfriend to save the world.
Yes.
And Giles just goes, yeah. So I wanted to know, so where were you standing? What were the incantations that were being said? So what happened? And she was like, I was here, he was there, stab. And he was just like constantly asking her until the end of the episode. She was like, I don't know why, but he was cured when I stabbed him. And I knew I had to stab him because that's how you save the world. And then she leaves the room and like Willow or Cordelia are standing there and is just like, wait, so did you actually need my help on this? And he's like, no, she just needed to talk about it. And I was like, did she?
Did she need to like this, Giles?
Did she have to like force her to relive that trauma multiple times after it happened?
I mean, look, Giles as a father figure makes mistakes, but don't all fathers?
Talking about people who have bad guidance for coping in pseudotherapists, is this where we talk about Sam Weiss?
Real quick, just the fact that, surprising no one, Olivia is extremely traumatized from this accident. She doesn't remember anything. She just remembers going to meet someone, which... If we rewind it a little bit, at the end of season 1, she was technically going to meet Nina Sharp and just can't even remember who she was supposed to meet, why she was there, what she was even doing. We'll sort of get to the explanation of like why she was thrown through a windshield. That kind of happens, I think, in the next 2 episodes or so.
Right.
But even that, the timeline is weird because she was in an elevator and then she was in an office and then she was being thrown through a windshield.
Very dreamlike, yeah.
Very dreamlike. And so when she wakes up after saying this Greek stuff, she is absolutely distraught. And she is like this for, in show terms, I think a day or two. Like, she has trouble, she has, like, she wants her gun. She has trouble loading her gun. She, like, can't trust herself. And I'm not sure how many days that is.
I guess. But I really think that she was basically still in that place by the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh, she 100% is.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, when episode 2 happens and it's just like, this person should not be carrying a gun.
Yes.
She almost shoots Peter because Peter comes around a corner too fast and surprises her.
Yeah.
And she's, like, hearing stuff a little too clearly, and she is in a place where she cannot trust her own senses. And this is where Nina Sharp makes probably the biggest mistake, according to the two of you, which I'm not disagreeing with, of being like, so this is a person who helped put me back together when I had cancer and thought my body was betraying me.
Yeah.
Go see this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we get to Samwise.
Here's the thing. Like, Nina's problem was that she had a cybernetic arm that she didn't know how to use, and she was overthinking it. And I do think that Sam helped Nina get out of her own head of making this cybernetic thing a part of her own body. Mm-hmm. I can believe that. That's not Olivia's problem right now. Olivia's problem is that because her body is still shaken, because her brain is still broken and she can't remember what happened, and that's like messing her up as well. She's trigger happy right now. Mm-hmm. And she just wants to get over it and move on and figure out what she can't remember and figure out what the next steps are, and she can't do it.
Right.
So the problem isn't, oh, you can't aim a gun without shaking, or, oh, you still rely on your cane. It's that your first reaction to somebody dicking you around is to point your gun at them, and that's how we end episode 3. I mean, that's Sam's idea of a solution is swear jar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Sam's the greatest character. I think Sam is interesting. I'm not saying the Yoda stuff is really great, but he's trying to fix a metaphysical problem. And there's a part of me that gave the show a lot of leeway with that because somebody dropped in from an alternate universe. And I believe 1,000% that Nina Sharp literally was like, hey, Sam, she dropped in from an alternate universe. Like, I don't think Nina Sharp skimped at all with why she is freaking the hell out. You know what I mean? Like, I think Sam knows exactly what happened, and Olivia being such a strong-willed individual, he's going to need to explain it to her in an unconventional way. And I'm not saying the way he did it was great.
The way he does it is pretty much ensuring that in real life, which I know this is, and I know this is still a fictional show, but Olivia is going to shoot someone she shouldn't. Like, this is where this is going. Which I'm sure will be swerved around because, good guys with guns are always okay, and it's fine.
I know. I think this does fall into the propaganda of the show.
Yes.
Honestly.
Beyond her stress response, where, clearly she's going from 0 to 60 for even the smallest of frights, I don't like mind games. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Fair.
I don't like it when characters aren't transparent with other ones, particularly when they are in charge of them, responsible for them, or caring for them. And that's why I can't stand Samwise. I don't like it.
I mean, honestly, I would have been way happier if she and Nina Sharp had just had a spa weekend and been like, so, you've been to an alternate universe.
Exactly.
Here's some things to watch out for.
Just that's all that it would have been. Like, someone who, I think I agree with you, Joy. I think that Sam does actually know what happened to Olivia. But what if, instead of playing mind games with her and forcing her to do things like tie her shoelaces, he just actually, held her hand and guided her there? Advice.
Are we doing the thing where it's like, well, they have amnesia, so you can't suggest what the holes are. They have to come to it organically. Are we playing that game?
He doesn't. He can't even suggest anything though, because he doesn't know what she saw or who she saw or what she did.
I feel like so you've been in an alternate universe is a pretty big suggestion.
She does already know that, though. Like, remember when Walter sat her down and tried to give her the whole blackboard discussion again? And she goes, no. I've heard this. I know that that's what happened to me. I just don't remember what I saw when I got there. And we're like, yeah, we all acknowledge that that's what's going on here.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. Not to give too many spoilers away, but Samwise is, I'm pretty sure he's named after after Sam from Lord of the Rings. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh. Is he?
I feel like he is. Isn't it Samwise Gamgee?
I mean, that is the name of that character,
but
I don't think...
Weiss. Like, I don't think so. I mean, it's Weiss.
See, now I want to look this up. Let me see if
like whether the writers did this on purpose. I do not. If they did, that actually makes me even more mad.
Yeah, because Samwise Gamgee is legit, and this guy isn't.
Samwise Gamgee, that's your Charlie, you know?
Yeah.
Charlie equals Sam.
Charlie's a Samwise.
This guy is not that.
You are no Samwise Gamgee, sir. Well, supposedly, J.J. Abrams really loves the name Eric Weiss because that was the real name of Harry Houdini. Oh, no, it is. Well, according to the fandom Wikipedia, his name is a play on Samwise, the first name, and I'm just like... I think somebody has a sincere misunderstanding about the character of Samwise Gamgee and should be taken out back for not understanding Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm definitely not saying that's who he is. I'm saying that's who they might have wanted him to be.
Well, that it's a play on the name.
Or that it's a play on the name. Sam Weiss is also his own thing in the Fringe series, and you'll see this later. But, like, he is not... Let's say he's not all there. So there's a bunch of stuff that I'm just sitting here going, and I don't know if this is having watched the series, but even when I first met him in the headspace of 2009, this made sense for a paranormal show. You have a paranormal explanation for getting somebody back up and working, and a lot of times the person you're talking to is too stubborn to actually talk about the thing. So, like, for me, this was like, oh, trope number 6. We have a very stubborn, usually a woman, who doesn't want to talk about her problems. So we're going to take the back way, you know.
No, you're right. I know it's a trope. It's just a trope that I hate.
Like, I mean,
literally, the first interaction he has with her is, she says, "Are you Sam?" And he goes, "No, I'm not. He moved away. He got on a train to Georgia," or whatever. Yeah. And she goes, "Okay, great," and turns around. Like a normal person would. And then Sam has the gall to say, "That's it? You're giving up? I tell you he met a girl and moved away and you're just giving up?" Yeah, dude, because
that's what people say. That's what people does.
When people ask for help and receive information, they tend to trust the information that they're given.
Especially from a dude.
Maybe that's not a character flaw.
Especially from a dude in a bowling alley when you've been given this name by Nina Sharp. And you're just like, where the hell even am I?
Anyway, I feel like we've ranted about Sam a lot.
It's fine. This is fine. Yeah, I don't exactly like him, but I'm not exactly upset by him. But I can definitely see how you two would be very upset by him. And it makes sense to me if the thing she wants to do is to feel confident in herself and not just shoot anybody and not feel, because with Olivia, I get the impression that the more weak she feels, the more trigger happy she's going to be. So if you can make her confident in the fact that she doesn't necessarily need a walker to get around, that's like 50% of her battle.
Sure, and I hate it, but yeah.
Like, what if we did that exact same thing, but with an actual licensed therapist?
Therapy still wasn't cool in 2009. I don't know why.
It was the thing you made people do.
I've been on this therapy train since the 90s, so I've got nothing for anybody else who was just like, ooh, therapy.
Oh, it'll be on my records. Ugh.
I know, that's the other thing, too. I'm an FBI agent. I can't be thought I'm crazy. And I'm just like, what if you talk to Broyles?
They've made her say that, like, 3 times in this show, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, and that's the other thing, too, because it was in the zeitgeist. Like, it's still in the zeitgeist. We're like, mental issues mean you're crazy. It doesn't matter what it is. Are you dealing with trauma? You're crazy. You got to toughen up and just got to live through it like the rest of us. And like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Or you could literally talk to someone.
And then if it's on your record, it could reflect poorly on you.
I mean, I'm not saying this doesn't happen. There are employers who find out people are in therapy and they're like, well, gonna fire you. Don't need a crazy person on my payroll. This is like the mental health issue in the US and has been for a long time. But, I mean, I can also understand somebody in law enforcement, especially working the Fringe division, being like, I can talk to the FBI psychologist, but what can I literally tell them? Because it's going to be beyond their classification.
I mean, so true. What do you say?
What do you say?
So I've been in an alternate reality.
Well, you see, you tell actual Charlie that, he'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 1,000 questions, but are you going to write the 1,000 questions fic, Nella? With, like, the real Charlie?
Maybe.
I've got 1,000 questions, but we don't have to answer those right now. But yeah, over drinks.
Oh, Charlie. I mean, it's just funny because, like, you know, we had, in these 3 episodes, you know, we had glass turning, exploding soldiers, and like, which the 3rd episode I really feel was them being like, oh, but what is the real cost of war? You know, funny. I think the Supernatural did the real life human monsters in the wall episode better. But it's just so funny how these things that happen in the 2 episodes after Charlie's death, like, I'm just like, and nothing matters because Charlie's dead. I don't care.
No, it was Monster of the Week episodes.
You have monsters. You have gopher monsters pulling people down in cornfields. Whatever. Deal with it, Pennsylvania.
I'll also say that I feel like both of these episodes were really just recycled season 1 mysteries. Because in season 1, we had a dad one of them was a dad and one of them was a husband. They had a significant other who was killing or eating other people, and they had to deal with their choices, right? And we also had that group of soldiers who were taken advantage of, the people who were going through the walls.
Yes.
Yeah. And we also had exploding people, the people as weapons, because we had the Bellini women.
I'm noticing a bit of a leitmotif.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where people experimenting on the people they love, biting them in the ass. And if I were a betting Nella, I would say that the cat's about to drop something very unpleasant on the doorstep of our good Walter.
I mean,
if I were a betting Nella. I feel like this is an ongoing motif of the show.
100%. In addition to Walter just not being a very careful scientist, can we discuss how in episode 2, the way he finds out the goo is paralytic is because some of it gets on his fingers because he wasn't wearing any gloves?
Don't even get me started about the autopsies where he's eating freaking red vine over the butt. There's blood on his gloves and he has a red vine in his hand. And when I tell you, my body like shriveled up into a ball and I wanted to die. The communicable gnarly diseases you can get from that kind. Sir, how are you still alive?
Do you love when he fully licks the crystal he finds in a body at the crime scene?
I mean, unshocking, but somebody slapped that out of his swear jar hand. Like, look, all right, look, I worked as an archaeologist, all right? Did we lick things? Yes. Should we have licked things? No. But do you know what we were licking? Pottery shards to see if it was swear jar stoneware, not human swear jar remains. Like, come on.
And he didn't know it was human remains, but he pulled it out of human remains?
Yeah, so it's kind of covered with human remains. I think what's secretly happening is Walter is actually like a low-key cannibal, and this is like how he gets his fix.
It's like the secret Bob's Burgers. We wanted them to be cannibals, but dang it, they wouldn't let us do it.
So we'll just have him eat things or lick things that are covered in blood.
I did. I don't know if you knew this, Danielle, but I told Nella while we were watching it that there was a running joke in fandom that Fringe all by itself was keeping red vines in business because you see the red vines again. You see them, I want to say in almost every single episode going forward, but I might be wrong about that. You see them in a lot of episodes.
I'll keep an eye out. We do. We for sure do. He loves them.
He loves red vines. He always has red vines at the ready. I did appreciate the please don't eat a burger in front of Gene.
With Gene mooing. What was Walter eating, though? He kind of looked like a burger.
I assumed it was a chicken sandwich.
I think it was a chicken sandwich.
I mean, but like,
Eat beef,
Jean
not
doesn't know.
Jean is upset about living in a basement lab next
Yes.
to all of these autopsies.
Yes.
Jean is not upset about someone eating a burger.
Jean honestly looks like Jean needs to put on a little weight. Like, Jean was looking a little skinny in the hip bones there.
I
And I don't
know.
know if it's because it was an older cow, but like, I was a little concerned about Jean in one shot. And I'm sure the cow was perfectly healthy and fine because they have ASCPA on these things. But like, I was like, you need to fatten that cat up.
I know.
That poor cow.
I know.
You're too skinny.
So skinny.
Every Sicilian grandmother instinct in my bone was like, you're too skinny.
I feel like we did kind of talk around all of the characters and all of the science, with the exception, though, of Agent Jessup.
I was not expecting Meghan Markle, and she was perfectly cromulent. Wow, I finally have seen Meghan Markle act in something.
Yeah, it was, Nella was like, why didn't you tell me Meghan Markle was in the series? And I was like, I actually didn't remember. The last time I watched...
Kind of forgot.
Last time I watched this series, Meghan Markle wasn't Meghan Markle with 2 capital M's.
Right.
So I kind of forgot.
Her character certainly exists.
It was weird. It was weird how they threw in that little bit at the end with her looking up all the files and aligning them all to Bible verses and then never spoke of it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even remember what happens to Meghan Markle's character.
Right? Did they do something with the Bible verses? I actually forget. Maybe the answer is no.
I'm not 100% sure what happened none of us will ever know what happened in the writer's room. Like, I'm sure there was probably a plot line of, like, historical, Christian significance or something that they wanted to return to, because all paranormal shows do that. All of them. All of them. X-Files did this so many times. I can't even tell you how many times they were. And just because, well, not just because, obviously, but, like, Skelly was raised Catholic, I think. I think she was raised Catholic, but she always wore... Danielle's just shaking her head. She's like, I haven't watched this series. And I'm like...
I can't answer this question.
But
I don't know if Nella can answer this question.
She always wore, like, a little gold cross. And a lot of the balance she always has with, like, it was always implied that she was, like, a lapsed religious Christian person because she went the route of science, and then there were inevitably episodes where it was like, gee, this is straight out of the Bible. And it's like, well, is it straight out of the Bible? I don't know.
Is it, or did we get a little creative with our interpretation there?
I mean, the Chimera would be really interesting for the, and this is where my extremely limited information about the Bible is going to leave me. Isn't there like a Leviathan or something in the Bible that has like 4 faces that I'm remembering?
I mean, they're called angels. The angels are
have 4
eldritch
faces?
horrors. Oh, angels are eldritch horrors. They're the angels that are spinning wheels. And cherubs are pretty much all eyes and wings.
Yeah,
it's great.
And I'm trying to remember the ones with the multiple faces.
my favorite is the Good Omens, like the real face of Aziraphale, where he's like 1,000 eyes and just no face at all.
When Gabriel descended upon the shepherds and went, "Hark!" There's a reason they scram. There's a reason they screamed. Horrifying. Horrifying.
I mean, one of my favorite moments in Dogma is where they're just trying to talk to God, and God is like, I cannot talk to you. I will explode your head.
At least the Archangel Raphael had the good sense of going undercover as a human. And that's why he's my favorite. Anyway.
Anyway.
Well, I don't remember exactly, but I felt like she labeled, like, the Chimera as the Beast or something. I feel like she was just naming episode titles also. Was it just me, or was it just like, didn't we watch an episode in season 1 that was labeled The Beast? Am I wrong?
I'd have no memory for the episode titles.
I mean, this is fair.
Absolutely none.
This is fair. Totally fair. It's fine. I thought she was good, actually. I felt like she was very realistic. A lot of times with actors on TV and film, sometimes they'll go a little too hard. And I felt like she was just genuinely a realistic, like, FBI agent who was just like, I'm in charge of this investigation. You need to talk to me. Yeah, and I think she filled the role well, especially when she was
someone who needed to take Peter under her wing.
Right, I know. Peter is directionless.
His credentials, when his credentials are just shred right in the lobby of the FBI.
Right in front of him. Oh, yeah. No, Peter was like, everyone in authority who had a leash on me is now either incapacitated or not here. So you get full
Right, where
Peter.
was Charlie?
You get full on Peter. I also appreciate that, like, letting Peter off his leash a little bit also allowed him to find a solution to the we're going to lose our funding and, like, hand the thing to Broyles and be like, by the way, this doesn't work. But if they could get it to work, they could have a series of super soldiers, which could change the shape.
That sure does feel very deal with the devil, though. Like, and I feel like this season is going to be, if I were betting Nella, I feel like the season's going to be Peter keeps going a little too far because now he knows that he could lose Liv at any time. It's possible. The possibility was a reality, and I don't think he's going to handle that very well. And he has that fear of, we've only ever reacted to these things happening, and we have to bring the fight to whatever is causing this.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I hear you.
He also feel it's going to become a problem.
He also cares more and more about Walter the more he spends time with Walter because they're rebuilding that relationship. Oh, the fishing scene.
I know.
And this young man gave this to you? Could I come on the trip? Like, oh my gosh. Walter.
I know. I also love
John Noble really sold it. He sold it so hard.
I love Astrid's face behind him of just like, that bless.
Is it just me, or did we get really egregious about travel times in the series for season 2 so far? Like, we're really flipping back and forth between New York and Boston, and then all of a sudden we're in Pennsylvania. They hop in the car in Boston and they drive all the way to this field in Pennsylvania.
Like it's
Don't forget they also go to Iraq.
And they go to Baghdad. Like, what?
Yeah, I told Nella this is like a reverse person of interest problem. In person of interest, it took all day to get to Queens from New York.
Which sometimes, depending on the traffic on the BQE,
it really
doesn't take 6 hours.
We're in the final season. We're in the final season of Game of Thrones here. That's what this is.
I know. It's
You've unlocked the quick travel map.
You've got your little whistle, which can bring you from map to map, and now you're fine. For the Mario Brothers players out there. No, they definitely do this, and they did this a little bit egregiously in season 1, but especially in this one. So they were like, look, it's in Pennsylvania. We could just go there. And I'm like, you did. You just went there. They had another missing person, and you showed up at the scene where they're still doing the forensics.
Here, I'm going to look up how long it takes to get to Boston, from Boston, just let's say, like, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Because that's, like, eastern Pennsylvania.
Are we imagining they did this in a helicopter, like, as a crow flies, or are we thinking they drove?
6 hours, 15 minutes, no traffic. Good luck with that.
I think they drove.
What if they took a helicopter? Or
anyone from Texas right now who's just like, what do you mean? I drive 6 hours every day. Stop. All right? This is the East Coast. That is unattainable.
Didn't Peter ask that they have some kind of transportation private plane fee?
He did, but they didn't get approved.
They didn't get approved.
Not in episode 1. Maybe they got approved later because they sure did get to... Where did they go?
Baghdad.
The plane he was asking for would not be able to land in the small land strips of whatever podunk Pennsylvania town I'm sure that they were trying to investigate in. Yes. Absolutely not. I have to put my... unless we're using Eisenhower's Interstate, this isn't a thing.
The town where the sheriff is named Sheriff Golightly, which... Oh, dear writers.
Pour one out for Sheriff Golightly.
Does someone just really love Breakfast at Tiffany and go, Golightly is a great name.
I also love that he was extremely heavy-handed with everything he did. Which is why...
Yeah.
Which is why
well, that's how you know he's a small-town sheriff.
I know. This was also a pretty common thing in these shows where it's like... Feds show up, and then the locals cop get pissed, and then although I really appreciated that Peter was like there to help Olivia. Peter was definitely going above and beyond for Olivia in too many ways.
Really trying out that boyfriend material, I'll tell you what.
Right.
That Peter.
Yeah.
I mean, supporting
I like how
Olivia
Rachel
won.
obviously shipped it too.
Where is Rachel, by the way?
Well,
Is the
Rachel was
show-
shipping it in episode 1.
Is the show reason for her not being here that she's found an apartment elsewhere?
I feel like your sister just came back from the dead, and like, unless I feel like Olivia's probably. My read is Olivia's pushing everyone away.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
I think Olivia wants things to get back to normal in these first few episodes. Like, she is desperate for some normalcy.
And we don't have a lot of Peter and Olivia moments in these first couple of episodes. Like, if anything, the reason that she's still holding a gun when she probably shouldn't be is that everyone's just too close to the situation and they want her to be normal right away.
Yeah. Well, especially Peter. Peter lies to Broyles twice.
Especially Peter.
Broyles is just like, can she handle it? And Peter's like, yeah, she'll be fine. And like, she almost shoots him. And then it's just like,
this.
her gun went off. Is there a problem? And it's like, no, there isn't a problem because it was a misfire. Like, he is doing the too supportive. He is too supportive. He needs to go, hey, honey, I think you have a problem. But he's not doing that.
No.
But that's fine. No. We didn't do that in 2009, I guess, or something.
Well, his on his ladder, empathy is rather low.
That's true.
Because contacts, rapport, and lore are up so high.
And rapport, like he can, what is it? Like he can get under your skin and make you trust him, but at the same time, he can't quite empathize with the thing you're going through.
That's what I'm saying. Rapport high, empathy low.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Peter. Why did you roll your character like this, Peter? I need to figure out a different pyramid for you.
Well, is it time for our One More Things, everyone? I know we've basically been doing One More Things this
I know. I have
podcast episode.
Well, I definitely have a one more thing, but I don't know if
Go for it.
So
I can find a one more thing while you tell about your one more thing.
I know I already talked about the X-Files, but the X-Files actually made an appearance in this episode, and I was really happy about it. The TV is on in the very first episode, actually, when the soldier first changes bodies. And it's an episode of the X-Files. It's Mulder and Scully looking up at the sky.
You know what is so funny? When I was watching that, I almost texted you, like, what's happening on that TV? I bet you know what show this is.
And you would be correct. So yes, the X-Files, the literal X-Files showing up in the show that I'm always like, this is really similar to the X-Files, and I had forgotten that.
That's amazing. All right, well, my one more thing will just be one more egregious lab mistake. one more egregious lab safety situation, which is when we also get another appearance of a watermelon.
Yes.
I was wondering if you were going to talk about it.
Better an exploding watermelon than an exploding body.
I mean, yes. And they probably should have been wearing more than just those protective glasses.
100%.
That, a human body exploded the entire inside of a train station.
Yes.
That watermelon really could have torn them apart if they hadn't been so lucky. Fortunately, I guess the rinds didn't quite absorb the serum in the same way.
He did only put in a little bit, and it wasn't like he was fishing around for the right frequency, so I think the fringe science saved them.
Yeah, well.
But you shouldn't be saved by your
just dumb luck.
Hubris.
Yeah. That too.
No one should ever be saved by their hubris. Just full disclaimer. Please don't be saved, because that's only going to make your hubris worse. That's how hubris works.
So there we go.
Like, you got to do better than good enough for government work, even though I understand this is in fact government work. Like, I can't believe we really got a kiss with Nina and Broyles there.
Hey.
I can't get over that. I can't believe that happened. Like, you know what? I've been so, like, look, there was a lot going on in these 3 episodes, and the majority, like 95% of my brain was Charlie's dead. But like, and then the other 5% was, oh, they went there. That just happened. That just and of course he's standing like 3 steps below her, so they're like a little more eye to eye, which is adorable. But I'm also like I know we were joking about this, but I suddenly don't know how much I feel. I'm here for it, but I'm not here for it. It's very complicated.
This gives me the weirdest boner. No, that kiss is one of the reasons where I'm just like, Nina knows everyone's bits. Everyone knows Nina's bits. I am convinced of this.
I'm 100% like, Nina, don't you dare break Boyle's heart. Okay?
I know.
Don't you dare. You have to be very gentle with him, Nina.
I know, he puts on a rough exterior, but he is just a cute, fluffy puppy on the inside.
Who orders a double at a bar, and I'm like, that's not a double.
The bartender knows him and was just like, sure, Jan, and like poured it for him. I think I mentioned this to you during one of the episodes of season 1, and I don't remember if I said it on the podcast or not, but there's a thing in shipping culture called a little black dress, and it's basically whoever you match this person up with everybody. Everybody gets in bed with this person, like a little black dress that you can wear to any event. My little black dress for Fringe is Nina Sharp, and I'm so glad it's an older woman who's like super successful, maybe a little conniving, maybe you don't know what side she ends up on, but
when I say I have complicated feelings,
actually powerful.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, it's not that I don't want this to happen. I just can't see it not blowing up in everyone's faces.
It's just that it's a bad idea. It's very
messy.
Yeah, it can be very messy.
It's going to give us 30,000 words of pain and just mess. It's the exploding watermelon of fic.
Well, on that note, I think that covers just about everything from this episode.
100%. Okay.
We did it.
We did it! And we would love to hear from you. Please check us out at Binge O'Clock Pod on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question, what is your favorite birthday treat? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com. Don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/BachPod.
Yes, and be sure to tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the shape-shifting, body-snatching soldiers in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.